All right, students. So this video here is to show you how to do assignment 1.1. So to get to 1.1, you're going to go to Stream on Google Classroom to classwork, go down to on your daily work, down to 1.1 patient biographies. So this is the assignment that you completed on your paper. This is just the version online. This is the information that you are going to use to help you fill out this information here. So the first thing I'm going to recommend that you do is if you do not understand what these things say, is to translate them into your home language. So anytime you see ML, you should translate that into your home language, into my language. So symptoms, risk factors, and connections to other students. So what we're going to do is we're going to read the information about the patients, and we're going to figure out what their symptoms are, what are their connections to other patients, and what are their risk factors. And so we can do this here together. So you can open this in Google Docs if you click here up here. If you want to translate this document into your home language, that's fine. Of course, in this class, you are always welcome to write in your home language. I challenge you to use as much English as you can, but it is okay. So you can, if you want to translate this document, you can go to Tools, Translate Document, and then you can pick the language you want to translate to. So if you want to go to Spanish, you want to translate to Arabic, or if you want to translate to Chinese, those are options for you to translate. So let's go through this together. So let's see. So first we have Sue, and it says Sue is an 18-year-old biology major who plays on the college soccer team. Sue reports a headache that never seems to go away and extreme lethargy. She admits that she has not been getting much sleep lately. Between soccer games and studying for tests, she has been living on energy drinks and coffee. She has been known to pull all-nighters to get her work done. She spent last weekend visiting a friend at another university. This certainly did not help her catch up on sleep. When she arrives, her temperature is 100.6 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, so let's see what do we know? What are her symptoms? So when we talk about symptoms, these are things that she is experiencing. These are things that she is feeling. So for example, a headache. So a headache, and this sometimes might help if you look for images. So a headache is, so right when your head hurts, when you're having this like pain in your head. So I'm going to write that one of her, she has a headache. Again, you can write in your home language if you want to. Extreme lethargy. So if you don't know what lethargy is, then you can also look. I recommend that you look for images. So this is when you're feeling just like really, really tired. You just don't really have you just don't want to do anything. You're kind of just lying down. Like when you feel sick and you really just don't want to do much. So I would put lethargy or extreme lethargy. So those are two of her symptoms. Let's see. She spent last weekend visiting another university. This is not help her catch. When she arrives, her temperature is 100.6 degrees Fahrenheit. So you may not know this, but this is a fever. So that means that she has a fever, which is when you just have a high temperature. When your temperature is really high and you start just, not feeling like, this is how you know that you are sick. So she also has a fever. Risk factors, when we talk about risk factors, these are really just the things that make somebody more likely to get sick. So what are the things that Sue does that make her more likely to get sick? So for one, she says that she has not been getting a lot of sleep. So we know that somebody who doesn't sleep well, right, is not going to be as healthy as they can. So not getting enough sleep, that's one thing that that is making her more likely to get sick. What else? She has not been getting much sleep. Between soccer games and studying for tests, she has been living on energy drinks and coffee. So she drinks a lot of caffeine, right? A lot of caffeine. Caffeine is a drug, and it can be harmful if you drink. Can be harmful if you take too much of it. So a lot of caffeine, not good for you. It can definitely make you feel sick. It can make you more likely to get sick. She's been known to pull all-nighters. All-nighters means that she does not sleep. So she's not getting enough sleep. She spent last weekend visiting a friend at another university. So she recently took a trip, right? She took a trip. So that means that she was away, right? So when you interact with more people, right, during the pandemic, if you remember with COVID, right, we stayed at home, and that was to prevent you from interacting with other people who could maybe get you sick. So the fact that Sue recently took a trip means that it's more likely that she may have gotten sick. So what are her connections to other students? Well, so far we don't really know. So we know that she plays on the soccer team, right? We know she's on the soccer team. And I think that's about it for now. So let's continue on let's look at Jill now. So Jill, Sue's roommate and teammate on the soccer team, feels extremely run down. She played the entire game in the last 2 afternoons and her whole body feels tight. She has been trying to stretch and has even done a session with the trainer at the athletic center, but she still feels sore. She makes sure to drink water before, during, and after all practices and games, and she stays away from highly caffeinated beverages. Jill is also running a slight fever, 99.7 degrees Fahrenheit, but she says her body temperature is always a bit high. Even though she is trying to quit, Jill reports smoking an occasional cigarette when she is out at parties. So let's see. So what are the things, what are her symptoms? So what are the things that she feels? So she feels run down. So feeling run down just means, right, you don't feel, you're not, you just feel very exhausted, very tired. So she feels very run down. What else do we know? Well, we know that she has, so her body feels tight. So she has tightness in her body. So tightness in your body, right? That's like when you're like your muscles hurt, your arms hurt in your body, right? So it's like you have like pain, soreness in your body. So she has tightness in the body. And what else do we know? She feels sore, right? Sore and tightness is basically the same thing. And she's running a fever, so she has a fever. So what are her risk factors? What are the things that make her more likely to get sick? Well, let's see. So she has been, let's see, she played the entire game the last 2 afternoons. So one thing that we can actually put this for Sue as well, right? The fact that they're on the soccer team, right? The fact, right, when you're on a soccer team and whatnot, right, you're always like running and doing exercise and you spend a lot of time together and you go to the locker rooms together. So, right, that's a lot of time that you are spending with other people, interacting with other people. And so, right, when you after you exercise a lot, you have to take a really good shower and whatnot, really make sure that you're clean. And so when you're in the locker room, right, there's just a lot of like gross things there. So you can actually put as a risk factor that they play on the soccer team. Like you can put that as a risk factor that they're on the soccer team because that means that they're interacting with other people, right? That means that they're like interacting with more people who might be sick. What else do we know? It says that she also smokes a cigarette sometimes. So cigarette, right? So that means she smokes sometimes, as you probably know. Um, she smokes cigarettes. Cigarettes are not good for your health. They can definitely make you sick. So what are her connections to other students? So what other students she's connected to? Well, we know that she is Sue's roommate and teammate on the soccer team. So she is Sue's roommate and teammate on the soccer team. So that means that she lives with Sue. They live in the same dorm, and they're on the same team. So that means that if Sue gets sick, it's likely that Jill will get sick too, and the same in reverse. Is there anything else here? Let's see. So she goes to the athletic center, right? So she's going to the athletic center with a trainer. So that might mean that, anybody else who has been to the athletic center might also be sick. So maybe athletic center. So if we know of other students who have been to the athletic center, we can probably say that they may have also been exposed to the sickness. But let's continue. So let's go to Anthony now. Anthony is a sports reporter for the school paper. He spends a good deal of time running back and forth across campus, trying to cover multiple games at one time. He probably has found every shortcut through the woods on campus. Anthony has a dry cough that will not go away. He has been more tired than normal. His muscles ache and his sinuses have been bothering him. His temperature has remained at about 100 degrees Fahrenheit the past few days. His friend Maria gave him some over-the-counter cold medicine, and while it seems to have relieved some of the pressure on his sinuses, he still does not feel well. So let's see. So what do we know about his symptoms? What is he feeling? Well, we know that he has a dry cough. So, right, he has a dry cough. And again, if you want to look at some images of what that is to help you, again, you're always welcome to put a translation. So a dry cough is really just right when you have a cough and it kind of hurts your lung, like it hurts because your mouth feels really dry and your throat feels really dry. So a dry cough. What else do we know? Well, we know that it says that he is more tired. So he's feeling tired. He has, what else? He has muscle aches and his sinuses have been bothering him. So muscle aches, again, that's when your muscles are hurting, muscle aches, and sinus pain. So pain in the sinuses. So if you don't know what your sinuses are, so your sinuses are these little spots on your nose, right? Sometimes when you're feeling sick, right, it feels a little painful here. Those are your sinuses. So he's feeling some pain in his sinuses. Is there anything else? Let's see. So he also has a fever. Right? He has a fever. 100 degrees Fahrenheit is a fever. Let's see. He has a fever. So he's got a lot of symptoms. What are his risk factors? So what are things that make him more likely to get sick? So let's see. So he's a sports reporter for the school paper. He spends a good deal of time running back and forth across campus trying to cover multiple games at once. He has probably found every shortcut through the woods on campus. So one thing that we know, right? So if he's a school reporter, that means that he is going all over the place and he's interacting with a lot of people, right? He's a school reporter. That means that he's talking to a lot of people. So he talks to a lot of people. He meets a lot of people. That means that you are like, right, if somebody that you are meeting with gets sick, right, and you are talking to other people, right, everybody who you talk to now can likely also get sick as well. So that's one thing that is making him more likely to have gotten sick. Is there anything else here? Well, it looks like no. This looks like about it. So what can we say about his connections to other people? Well, let's see. So it's not very direct, but it says, right, so he spends he's trying to cover multiple games. So he's going to all the games on campus at the school. And what do we know? We know that Sue and Jill play on that team, right? They play on the soccer team. So that means that he has some amount of interactions with them, right? Even maybe he doesn't see them directly, or maybe he interviews them, it's possible. So, right, he goes to athletic games or soccer games. So that means that he could potentially interact with Jill and Sue. What else do we know? Well, let's see. We also know that uh, he has a friend named Maria who gave him some medicine. So he's friends with Maria. Okay, let's then go on to Wanda. What about Wanda? Wanda has had a fever for the past few days. She just noticed that the glands in her neck are swollen. This morning, she woke up to a sore throat, so she decided to get herself checked out by a doctor. Her boyfriend, Ray, also has the same symptoms, but he hates doctors and he said he will just take acetaminophen and write it out. Wanda is pledging the same sorority as Jill. They have long meetings every night for this past 2 weeks and have attended many concerts and parties on campus. Wanda has not seen Ray as much as she would like lately. So what are her symptoms? So she has a fever and she had the glands in her neck are swollen. So your glands in neck. So the glands in your neck, right? So sometimes when you get sick, you notice that on your neck, right, you get a little bit of inflammation. It gets a little sore. So that usually tells you that you're sick, right? That your body is trying to eliminate whatever is hurting, whatever is causing you illness. And so this means that somebody is likely sick. So this is a symptom of a disease, of an illness. So we can say that she has a fever. We said that she had a fever and she has a swollen neck glands. So the glands in her neck are swollen. What else do we know? She has a sore throat. And it looks like that is it. So let's say she has a sore throat. Her throat hurts. Okay. What are her risk factors? What are things that make her more likely to get sick? So let's see. So it says that she's in the same sorority as Jill. They have long meetings every night for the past 2 weeks and have attended many concerts and parties on campus. So concerts and parties, again, right? These are places where a lot of people are there. So if somebody is sick at one of these parties, right? That means a lot of people can get sick. So she goes to parties and concerts. Right? That means that she is more likely to get sick. If somebody at that party or that concert is sick, she can also get sick. Let's see. Wanda has not seen. Okay, that's probably it. So let's see. What are her connections? So she is in the same sorority as Jill. So if you don't know what a sorority is, so sorority is like so there are things called sororities and fraternities. Sororities are usually for women, whereas fraternities are for men. So for fraternity and sororities, these are like brotherhoods and sisterhoods. So usually they have some kind of goal. So sometimes there are sororities that are for, like women who all play sports or women who all play an instrument or women who are all, very interested in a certain activity or students who are all from a similar background, maybe who are all from a similar religion, right? So that she's in the same sorority as Jill. So that means that, right, she has a connection to Jill. That's a connection between them. Let's see. She also has a boyfriend named Ray. So she has a boyfriend named Ray. Boyfriend named Ray. And Ray is also sick. We said that we know that Ray is sick. Ray has the same symptoms. Okay. Okay, let's go on to Maggie. Maggie lives on the same floor as Sue and Jill. They see each other at dorm functions and all the time and have chemistry class together, but they also have their own circle of friends. Maggie's throat has been scratchy the past few days. She has been keeping an eye on it because she is a singer in a popular campus band. She has been drinking tea, gargling with salt water, but this morning she woke up feeling like her throat was on fire. Her head feels heavy. She cannot seem to regulate her temperature. One minute she is hot and the next she is cold. So let's see her symptoms. What are her symptoms? She has a scratchy throat. So that means her throat isn't feeling a little bit sore. So scratchy throat. What else do we know? Let's see. She has so she's been drinking tea, okay, but she felt like her throat was on fire. So that means like her throat really, really hurts. So very like very sore throat, or we can say very sore throat. Like her throat hurts a lot. What else do we know? Let's see. Her head feels heavy. So her head just feels like really heavy, heavy head. And what else? She has I think we see here that she has a fever. Yeah, she cannot seem to regulate, or she cannot seem to regulate her temperature. One minute she is hot and the next she is cold. So when you're feeling hot and cold, that's usually tells you that you have a fever. That's what a fever usually feels like. So what are her risk factors? What are things that make her more likely to be sick? So let's see. They see each other at dorm functions all the time and have chemistry class together. So a dorm function, this is again something that's maybe not super clear, dorm functions. So dorm functions can be a lot of things. So they can be like little gatherings where people have, like they're usually like these common spaces. There's usually like these spaces where people kind of hang out together, they spend time together, like people who live in the same building. So a dorm is kind of like an apartment for college students. So one thing that can make her more likely to get sick is that, right, she goes to a lot of dorm functions, right? So that means that she's interacting with a lot of people. And if one of them is sick, again, that means that that could be a problem. That means that she could have gotten sick from that. What else? She has she is a singer in a popular campus band, right? So she's in a band. So a band, right? A group of people who play instruments or sing together. So that means that she's been going to concerts because she's in a band, right? In a band. She's been going to concerts. Okay. What are her connections to other students? Well, we know that she lives on the same floor as Sue and Jill. Same floor as Sue and Jill. Or lives on the same floor. What else? Well, let's see. So it says they see each other at dorm functions and have chemistry class together. Okay, so we can put dorm, also dorm functions and chemistry class together. So those are some connections between them. Let's see. Is there anything else here? Let's see. Well, it looks like that's about it, right? So she's been on the campus band, which means that, right, she's been going to those concerts. And we know from before, right, that Jill and Wanda have been going to a lot of concerts, right? So that means that they may have interacted with each other, right? So that means that maybe Wanda and Jill go to concerts as well. So, right, she may have some interactions with them. That may be part of why she is sick. Now let's go to Maria. What do we know about Maria? So let's see, Maria, she lives down the hall from Jill and Sue as well. So she also lives down the hall. Others in the dorm joke that Maria should just move in. She's always over at her room. She's constantly eating their food. Jill says she cannot even put down her glass for a second because Maria will drink from it. Maria has been feeling run down for the past few days. She hates doctors, so she's put this off for as long as possible. But this morning she could barely get out of bed and her forehead feels like it is on fire. When she arrives at the health center, her fever is almost 103 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, so what are her symptoms? What are the things that she's feeling? So she's feeling run down. Again, she's feeling just really tired. And she also it looks like she has a fever. So her forehead feels like it's on fire. So the front of her head, so your forehead, right, is the front of your head. Right. Forehead just feels like it's on fire. It feels like really, really hot. So her symptoms are, right? So we said one of them was that she feels run down. So she's feeling really tired, maybe sore. And also we know that she has a fever, right? She has a fever. She's feeling her forehead, like, or we can say extreme fever, like a danger, like her fever is really high. What are her risk factors? So what are things that make her more likely to get? So she lived down the hall from Jill and Sue. Others in the dorm joked that Maria should just move in. She's always at their dorm and she's constantly eating their food. So somebody who, right, one of the things that we did during the pandemic was we told people not to eat or drink from the same food as people, because that, right, if somebody is sick and you drink from what they drink, or eat from what they eat, you can also be putting the thing that is making them sick into your body. So we can put that one of the risk factors, right, is that she eats a lot of other people's food. She eats a lot of other people's food. Not a good idea. Let's see. She hates doctors. Okay. Yeah, not liking doctors is usually a good fact is a big risk factor, right? Like you should not going to the doctors is not always fun, right? But that could be a risk factor too. I won't include it here, but yeah, you should when you feel sick, you should go to the doctor. It's a good idea. So what are her connections to other students? Well, similarly, right, we know that she lives in the same, she lives down the hall from Jill and Sue, right? Lives down the hall from Jill and Sue. So the same floor, lives down the hall. So that means that she also lives near Maggie, right? Because Maggie also lives on the same floor, also near Maggie. So that means she has connections to all of them. Is there anything else we should see from here? I think that's basically it. So we can go on to Arnie then. So it says now, so let's see Arnie. Arnie is studying photography and loves to take black and white shots of athletic competitions. So I mean, right, he's going to athletic competitions. A few of his pictures have been featured in the school newspaper. Anthony, a guy who lives on Arnie's floor, has been helping him pick out which shots to submit. Arnie has been coughing and dealing with a runny nose all week. He has made sure to put on his jacket, hat, and gloves when he goes outside to increase his vitamins, but he just seems to get worse. Last night, he could not stop coughing when he was talking to his girlfriend on the phone. He did not think he had a fever, but when he arrives to the student center, he learns that his temperature is 100.5 degrees Fahrenheit. So let's see again, what are his symptoms? So he has been coughing and he has a runny nose. So a runny nose, it's like when the mucus in your nose, right? You just have a lot of mucus that pours out of your nose. You usually see it in babies and whatnot, right? When the mucus just keeps coming out of your nose and it just doesn't stop. So right, he has a runny nose. He also has what did we say? Coughing. He has a cough. He's been coughing. Let's see what else. So is there anything else? He cannot stop coughing and he has a fever. So those are the symptoms. What are the risk factors? So what are things that he does that make him more likely to get sick? Well, it looks like he goes to athletic competitions, right? So people who go to athletic competitions, right? When you go to a game for like a different sport, right? A lot of people are there. So you're interacting with a lot of people. So it goes to athletic competitions is definitely something that could make you sick. Let's see, what else? So if we then go and look at now, so what are his connections to other people? Well, so he goes to athletic competitions again. So what do we know? Well, we know that Sue and Jill are on the athletic team, right? So they're on the soccer team, right? So he may have, right, connection to Sue and Jill from athletic competitions, right? And again, there are a lot of people there. So if somebody got sick from there, he could have gotten sick as well. What else is there here? Well, we know that Anthony, so the other person we learned about, he lives on Arnie's floor. So that means, so he lives on the same floor as Anthony. And that's about it. Okay. Well, hopefully this helped you a bit, and we'll go on to the next one.